Today we're diving into one of the biggest tech stories of the year, the new iPhone 17. What will it look like? What crazy features are coming? And maybe even more importantly, how will Apple fix its problems in Washington and China? This isn't just about a phone anymore. It's about tech wars, political wars, and the future of the global economy. Let's get into it. First, the iPhone 17 itself. From everything we're hearing, Apple is planning its most radical redesign in years. The iPhone 17 is rumored to feature a truly borderless display. No bezels. No dynamic island. No interruptions. A perfect sheet of glass in your hand, with under-display Face ID and under-display cameras. Apple has been working on this technology for years, and the iPhone 17 could finally be the moment it becomes reality. Imagine unlocking your phone with no visible sensor. Imagine taking selfies with a hidden camera under the screen. The future is here. But that's not the only big upgrade. Reports suggest Apple will introduce new solid-state haptic buttons. These aren't real buttons, they're pressure sensors that simulate a click with haptic feedback. This would make the iPhone 17 more durable, more water-resistant, and more futuristic. There's also talk of a titanium frame, a huge processor leap with the A19 chip, and even longer battery life thanks to new energy-efficient designs. On the camera side, Apple may finally catch up to Samsung and Huawei by adding a true periscope zoom lens, giving users real 10x optical zoom without losing quality. Low-light photography will improve even further, and AI-powered video editing could become a headline feature. But there's more. As previous rumors have suggested, the new iPhone 17 Air model is also coming. This iPhone 17 Air appears to sacrifice some hardware features to achieve an extreme level of thinness. That means it will likely have just one camera lens and could feature a smaller battery capacity compared to other models. Despite losing some camera capabilities, an ultra-thin iPhone could definitely become the most fashionable choice, especially if it easily fits in your pocket. Can you imagine slipping a full-power iPhone into your jeans without that bulky feel? It could be a massive hit with style-focused users. And that's not all. New leaks are hitting fast. One suggests that the iPhone 17 Pro will feature a redesigned extended camera bar, allowing for new levels of case customization. Imagine swapping out case modules or snapping on camera accessories directly onto a smart camera bar. That's a whole new ecosystem of possibilities for creators and photographers. And get ready, Apple is reportedly planning a new budget, E model iPhone, similar to the SE line, but possibly launching every year now. A cheaper iPhone on a regular release schedule could completely reshape the budget smartphone market. So whether you want the thin, stylish Air, the customizable Pro, or a more affordable iPhone E, it looks like Apple is covering every corner of the market. All will be officially revealed this September, as always. Now, even with all this excitement, Apple has bigger battles to fight. Let's talk about Washington first. The US government has made it clear they are coming after big tech. Lawsuits, antitrust investigations, new regulations. The App Store is under fire for allegedly stifling competition. Apple's control over in-app payments is facing challenges from lawmakers. Privacy rules are being tightened. And in Washington, there's growing bipartisan agreement that Apple, along with Google, Amazon, and Facebook, needs to be reined in. For Apple, this is dangerous territory. If Congress forces Apple to open up the App Store, it could lose billions of dollars in revenue. If regulators break up parts of its business, Apple could lose its most powerful weapon, its tightly integrated ecosystem. Behind the scenes, Apple's lobbyists are working overtime. Expect Apple to make some public concessions. Maybe allowing more third-party app stores. Maybe reducing App Store fees slightly. Maybe boosting transparency around data collection. All designed to calm the storm in Washington without losing full control. It's a high-wire act, and the stakes couldn't be higher. Now let's move overseas. China. For years, China was Apple's secret weapon. It was the hub of manufacturing. It was a massive consumer market. And it was crucial to Apple's bottom line. But now? Things are changing, fast. Rising nationalism is hurting Apple's image inside China. Government officials are reportedly banning the use of iPhones by government employees. Chinese brands like Huawei and Xiaomi are staging a huge comeback. And China's leadership is pushing hard for homegrown technology, squeezing out foreign brands like Apple. Meanwhile, supply chains in China have become more fragile, thanks to COVID, political tensions, and tighter regulations. Apple is trying to shift production to India, Vietnam, and other places, but building a whole new supply chain takes years. In the short term, Apple is exposed. If China pulls harder against US companies, iPhone 17 sales could suffer badly. And the bigger risk? China could limit key materials or factories needed to build not just iPhones, but almost every piece of tech. It's not just about money anymore. It's about control. Control of technology. Control of information. Control of the future. And the iPhone 17 is launching right in the middle of that global power struggle. So how does Apple move forward? First, innovation. The iPhone 17 lineup needs to blow people away. Not just with better cameras and faster chips, but with real next-gen experiences. Think deeper AI integration. Think smarter Siri, capable of full conversations. Think real-time translation. Think on-device AI that outpaces anything Google or Samsung can offer. Second, diplomacy. Apple has to keep Washington and Beijing both just happy enough to survive. This could mean negotiating supply chain deals in India and Vietnam. It could mean agreeing to more oversight in the US while fighting quietly behind the scenes. Third, diversification. Apple has to build its future beyond the iPhone. And they're already working on it. The Apple Vision Pro headset is a bet on the future of augmented reality. The rumored Apple Car is a bet on the future of transportation. And services like Apple Music, Apple TV Plus, and iCloud are bets on recurring revenue streams not tied to hardware. In short, Apple knows the world is changing. They are not standing still. Now let's step back and look at the bigger picture. The iPhone 17 launch isn't just another product reveal. It's a symbol of survival. It's a test of whether an American tech giant can keep leading the world in an era of massive political, economic, and technological disruption. And it's a signal to every other company: innovate fast or get crushed. Because the new tech world is brutal. AI is rising. Governments are cracking down. Global trade is getting harder. And consumers expect more, faster, and cheaper than ever before. The companies that win in the 2025s and 2030s will be the ones that adapt, not the ones that cling to the past. Will Apple succeed? Will the iPhone 17 lineup mark a new golden age, or the beginning of a much harder road? That's the question. And the answer will shape the future of technology for all of us. I'm Mark with AVoice Podcast News. Thanks for watching. If you found this breakdown helpful, smash that like button, leave a comment below with your thoughts on the iPhone 17, and don't forget to subscribe for more real tech news you can actually use. Stay smart. Stay ready. And I'll see you in the next video. Hey everyone, it's Mark with AVoice Podcast News. Today, we're diving into the biggest tech mystery of the year, the new iPhone 17. What will it look like? What crazy new features are coming? And maybe even more important, how will Apple handle the major battles it's facing right now in Washington and China? This isn't just about a phone anymore. It's about global politics, economic wars, and the future of technology as we know it. Let's break it all down. First up, what can we expect from the iPhone 17? If the leaks and rumors are true, Apple is about to change the game again. We're talking about the first iPhone ever with a truly borderless display. No bezels. No visible camera. Just pure uninterrupted screen. Sources say Apple is finally perfecting under-display Face ID and under-display front cameras, meaning no more notch, no more dynamic island. Just a perfect slab of glass in your hand. But that's not all. We could also see the introduction of Apple's first solid-state haptic buttons, no physical click, but pressure sensors under the frame that simulate button presses with vibration feedback. This would make the phone even more durable, more waterproof, and more futuristic. There's also talk of a titanium frame, making the phone lighter and stronger than ever before. And don't be surprised if Apple surprises us with a next-general A19 chip, built on 2nm architecture. That means even faster speeds, even longer battery life, and even more advanced AI processing directly on the device. Now, let's talk about cameras. Because let's be honest, the iPhone camera is a battlefield. Reports hint at a periscope-style zoom lens finally coming to the iPhone 17 lineup. Imagine zooming 10x without losing detail, just like a pro camera, but built right into your phone. Add in even better low-light performance, cinematic mode upgrades, and AI photo editing, and the iPhone 17 could once again set the standard for smartphone photography. But here's the twist. Even if the iPhone 17 is amazing, Apple has a much bigger problem to solve. Washington and China. Let's start with Washington. The US government is putting massive pressure on big tech, especially Apple, over issues like App Store monopolies, privacy rules, and international trade practices. New regulations are coming. New lawsuits are on the table. And if Apple doesn't play its cards right, it could face billions in fines, forced changes to the App Store, and even potential breakup threats. Analysts say Apple will have to walk a very fine line. On one hand, showing Congress and regulators that they're willing to be flexible. On the other hand, protecting the iPhone ecosystem that makes them billions every single quarter. Expect Apple to make some public moves soon. Maybe opening up parts of the App Store. Maybe offering more privacy controls. Maybe even cutting a few deals behind closed doors to keep the heat off. But Washington isn't the only battle. Let's talk about China. China has been one of Apple's biggest markets, but it's also turning into one of their biggest risks. Between rising nationalism, trade wars, and new restrictions on foreign companies, Apple is under serious pressure in China right now. Reports say government workers in China are being told not to use iPhones. Chinese smartphone companies like Huawei are bouncing back stronger than ever. And supply chain disruptions are still a real threat. Apple is already quietly moving production out of China, shifting factories to India, Vietnam, and other Southeast Asian countries. But it's not happening fast enough. If things get worse between China and the US, Apple could lose massive market share, face shipping delays, and see iPhone 17 sales hammered overseas. This is why the iPhone 17 isn't just a tech story. It's a geopolitical story. It's about how American companies survive in a world where tech is now a weapon in global politics. And Apple knows it. That's why the iPhone 17 needs to be more than just a beautiful phone. It needs to be a symbol. A symbol of resilience. A symbol of innovation. A symbol of trust at a time when tech companies are under the microscope like never before. The new tech world is going to be about one thing: survival. The companies that can move fast, innovate smart, and navigate political minefields are the ones that will dominate the 2025s and 2030s. And Apple is betting that the iPhone 17 will be their flagship in that new world. So how will it all go down? Here's my prediction. The iPhone 17 will launch to massive hype. It will sell tens of millions of units. But the real story will be behind the scenes. How Apple handles Washington's regulatory hammer. How Apple weathers China's rising competition. And how Apple transforms itself into a next-generation tech powerhouse that's not just about phones, but about AI, about services, about smart devices, and about building an entire ecosystem that's too big to fail. The next 18 months are critical. The iPhone 17 could either be Apple's biggest triumph, or the beginning of a much harder road. One thing's for sure. The future of technology is being written right now. And the choices companies like Apple make today will shape the next decade of innovation, jobs, and global power. I'm Mark with AVoice Podcast News. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this breakdown, smash that like button, share this video with a friend who needs to know the real story behind the headlines, and don't forget to subscribe for more real tech news without the hype. Stay smart. Stay ahead. And I'll see you in the next one.